Well, she's my prayer partner, a good friend, and I've known her for quite a long time. She's a good friend of my daughter's, and that's how I met her when our daughter was living in Canberra. And they were getting together to pray about a little outreach group, and when I was up there, I'd join in their prayer times with them. So I've known about her prayerfulness for a long time and her faith in God. So it's a really special relationship she has, and she really has to trust in him.
Yes.
As we've seen throughout this journey, as she shared it in her book.
Yeah. As her prayer partner and friend, what are some of your observations of what has Lisa gone through in this journey that she describes in her book?
She's gone through some really difficult times because of the fact that people don't really want to know about people with disabilities a lot of the time, because it's not in their normal worldview. And as I did work for 2 years in a disability organisation as a coordinator before I went into my last job before I retired, I saw what the parents of children with disabilities went through, and it opened my eyes, because I had no idea initially the hard times that these people go through and the lack of support by even so-called friends at times. And they feel so alone, and that they're on this journey, but they're battling all by themselves to try and get heard by government agencies, and also in the secular world, as far as getting their kids into places where they would want to be able to get a job. That's their heart's desires a lot of the time, just to get a job and be like everyone else. But it doesn't work that way, because there's so much lack of information. They end up getting bullied in a very subtle way sometimes, and it just destroys the person with disabilities' confidence. And then the parents are trying to battle with that, be an advocate, resource funding so they can end up getting some support to help their child. And it's just like this never-ending cycle. And if Lisa didn't have her Christian faith, she would have got nowhere, because she just has totally relied on God the whole way through. And that's something that you can see. Her faith has helped her to survive. Mm.
What do you think the church and Christian friends could do to be helpful?
Well, I think actually they need to be informed about people with disabilities, and get some education about it, so they can understand what people are going through. And even in the church, just to be able to come alongside the carers and to say, look, we're here, we probably can't understand what's happening, but if you need a coffee, if you need someone to talk to, need someone to pray with, I'm here, I can help you. But sometimes a bit of personal development never goes astray in these situations.
Yes.
Yeah.
What are your hopes for this book that Lisa has written?
My hopes are that a lot of people will start to see what the parents of children with a disability actually go through, and to gain some sort of understanding, and that there's not always an outcome that is a good ending. There's an outcome that we have to work with this and make the best of it. But here are some tools. And that's what I feel that Lisa's trying to do, is to give some tools to people to help them understand and know that they're not alone. And that is a really important thing. And that's where support groups, I feel, are very, very good, and where carers can get together, talk to each other, say how they're going or not going, and any little like handy hints for them. This isn't about Lisa's book, but I once ran a disability support group for people. Well, it was dementia carers. I initiated it because I could see there was a need in my workplace at carers. And those carers used to love going to that group because they knew, one, everything was confidential, two, that not everybody's journey is the same, although the diagnosis is the same. And they got an awful lot of support from each other. And this is what is so important, is for carers to be able to get together and share those things. And Lisa has got that extra bonus of being a Christian, and so she's got hope in what the Lord is going to do. And nothing she does is without seeking what the Lord's will is. And that's something that really impresses me.
As a prayer partner of
Yes.
Lisa's and prayer friend,
Yes.
what do you think prayer has or can accomplish in these situations?
Well, as a prayer partner or friend, I can see when she might ring up and say, this is happening, can you please pray? And as I do and just wait on the Lord, he might give me a scripture, he might give me a vision, he might just give me a word of knowledge or wisdom just for Lisa, and to say, have you thought about this? We need to pray this way. And it's not about, it's going to get fixed. It's about, what does the Lord want in this situation? And it's helped me as a person to grow into a deeper relationship with the Lord as well. But it's something I'd always wanted, was a prayer partner that you could really dig in deep with. And that's what I've found has happened. And I'm really, really grateful. Although we are miles and miles apart, a telephone call and we're both together, in unison with what's going on. Yeah.
Wonderful. Do you think there are perhaps obstacles that churches might accidentally put in the way of families dealing with children with disabilities, and be completely unaware of some of the hindrances that could be easily resolved?
Well, the fact that someone's child doesn't behave in the same way as what a so-called normal child does, people are wary. And this is where I said about the getting educated, because I've seen a young autistic boy in church when the mum went up to the altar rail for communion, and he started getting distressed and ended up pulling her hair. And it was really hard to sit there and see this happening, and some of the people just said, oh, look at his bad behaviour. But he was trying to communicate something. And this is what we need to look at in a church, is what is that behaviour telling us? They can't verbalise sometimes what's going on inside their little head. or as an adult, they can't verbalize it either, but they do it in a behavior. And so that's a communication. And this is something that churches need to, do some self-improvement on. How can I help those parents? They must battle even to get to church and to cope with my child who isn't behaving the way that everybody else is. And then some people will go, well, I don't really want to have anything to do with them. And they don't really go up and say, how are you going? What's going on? And that's the hard thing. It can be a place full of people. They talk about family, but it can be a very lonely place too. And that's something, I suppose I'm all on education and people getting to know how they can really get to know what's going on for that family, because every family has something different going on. And it's a really hard thing. And things that we take for granted may take a lot of time to explain to the child, this is why this is happening and we do this now. And we just flow through it and think, oh, the church service was good today, or, oh, home groups on, or youth groups on. We'll send the person to the youth group. But once the youth group's over, are people contacting this person with a disability? Are they, saying, would you like to go out for coffee, or can I be your friend? And we've got friends with children with disabilities as well. And we went out for tea to celebrate the other night with our friend, and her daughter was 46, and her good friend is a Down syndrome girl. And I just saw the pair of them together, and they are so happy. And it's wonderful to go and we've been and watched Special Olympics that the kids, the young people are in, and they are so different to watching the so-called, normal people, because when they finish a race in the pool, they turn around and start barracking for all the others that are still coming. And I couldn't believe it the first time I saw it, but I thought, we have so much to learn from them. They're just lovely. So, yeah. I don't know if that's answered the question or not.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing that. Look, you've given me plenty of material to work with, and I really appreciate your insights. Was there anything else that you would like to say?
Well, the Lord's plans are not always our plans, and I found that with myself so many times. But this book, He's orchestrated that for Lisa, because she's got the ability to be able to put across her story and show other carers that they're not alone, and that you don't always win, but it's a journey that you're going on. And like, I'm going to get some for my friends with children with disabilities as well to read, because it's just a wonderful start. And I believe this is only the beginning for her, because she is a person that can communicate all of that to people in the same situation. And I'll be behind her right along the way with it.
Wonderful. And there are many other people cheering her on as well, myself included.
Yes, yes.
Look, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. You've been very generous. And more importantly, thank you for your ongoing support for Lisa and her family.
Yes.
That is greatly appreciated. Thank you.
You're welcome.
God bless you. Have a lovely day.